What if the smallest European colony in the Pacific would become America's unsinkable aircraft carrier? That, a tiny island where ancient peoples built stone cities, would witness one of World War II's bloodiest battles. This is the story of Guam, an island coveted by empires for over 500 years. Picture this. Around 1500 BC, while Egypt was building pyramids and China was casting bronze, seafaring tribes from the Philippines were navigating thousands of miles of open ocean in outrigger canoes. No GPS, no compasses, just stars, currents, and courage. These Austronesian speakers would become the Chamorro people, and what they built on Guam still boggles archaeologists' minds today. The Chamorro did not just survive on this remote island, they thrived. They created a sophisticated society with a rigid caste system. The Chamorri nobles at the top, followed by the achot middle class and the manachang commoners. But they carved these massive stone pillars called latte stones, some weighing over 35 tons. Unlike Stonehenge, we actually know what these were for. They were foundation pillars for their houses, raising structures above floods and pests. Practical? Yes, but also a massive flex of engineering prowess. On March 6, 1521, Ferdinand Magellan's starving fleet spotted Guam during history's first circumnavigation. The Chamorro paddled out in their proas, those lightning-fast outriggers, to trade. But when they helped themselves to a small boat from Magellan's ship, thinking it was part of the trade, Magellan burned down 40 houses and killed 7 Chamorro men. He named the islands Islas de los Ladrones, Islands of Thieves. Not exactly the meet and greet you would hope for. Spain claimed Guam in 1565, but basically ignored it for a century, using it as a pit stop for their Manila galleons. Then, in 1668, Jesuit missionary Luis de San Vitores arrived with a mission: save souls in claimed territory for God and Spain. Chief Kepuha welcomed them, even donated land for the first Catholic Church. But when the Spanish began baptizing babies without permission and interfering with Chamorro spiritual practices, including their reverence for ancestor skulls, tensions exploded. The Chamorro-Spanish Wars that followed were brutal. When Chamorro warriors killed San Vitores in 1672, Spain unleashed hell. Spanish soldiers systematically destroyed Chamorro villages, forcing survivors into colonial settlements. Disease did what weapons could not. Smallpox, influenza, and other European diseases ravaged a population with no immunity. By 1710, the Chamorro population had collapsed from an estimated 50,000 to fewer than 5,000. Some historians argue it was genocide. The numbers certainly support that grim assessment. But the Chamorro people adapted, survived, and preserved their identity even as their world transformed. They incorporated Catholicism while maintaining ancient practices. Their language evolved but endured. Their matrilineal society bent but did not break. For over 2 centuries, Guam remained Spain's sleepy Pacific outpost. Then came June 20th, 1898, a day that perfectly captures the absurdity of empire. The USS Charleston sailed into Apra Harbor to capture Guam during the Spanish-American War. They fired warning shots. The Spanish governor, who had not heard war had been declared, thought it was a salute and apologized for not having gunpowder to return the courtesy. When Captain Glass informed him he was now a prisoner of war, Governor Juan Marina simply said, "Well then, I surrender." Not a single shot fired in anger. Not a single casualty. The most polite conquest in military history. America immediately recognized what Spain had missed. Guam was not just an island. It was an unsinkable aircraft carrier in the middle of the Pacific. The U.S. Navy took direct control, and and Guam became America's westernmost territory. They built schools, hospitals, and roads. They introduced English education and American law. But they also designated Chamorro people as American nationals, not citizens, a second-class status that would sting for decades. Then came December 8, 1941. Hours after Pearl Harbor, Japanese planes bombed Guam. The American garrison of 424 Marines and sailors faced 5,000 Japanese invaders. After a token resistance, they surrendered. What followed were 31 months of brutal occupation that older Chamorros still call Tiempo Japones, the Japanese time. The Japanese subjected Chamorros to forced labor, torture, and mass executions. They forced people to learn Japanese, bow to the emperor's portrait, and abandon Catholicism. As American forces approached in 1944, Japanese brutality intensified. At places like Tinta and Faja, Japanese soldiers massacred entire families. Conservative estimates say over 1,000 Chamorros died. Many historians believe the number was far higher. The Battle of Guam began July 21, 1944. For 3 weeks, Americans and Japanese turned the island into hell. Marines faced fanatical resistance, including history's largest banzai charge. When it ended, over 18,000 Japanese soldiers were dead, along with 3,000 Americans. Untold Chamorro civilians were caught in the crossfire. In 1950, the Organic Act of Guam finally made Chamorros U.S. citizens, though they still cannot vote for president. Guam rebuilt not as a colony, but as an unincorporated territory with its own elected government. Today, Guam hosts massive U.S. military bases covering nearly 30% of the island. It is America's spear tip in the Pacific, especially as tensions with China rise. But it is also a thriving multicultural society where Chamorro culture did not just survive, it flourished. The Chamorro language is taught in schools. Ancient traditions blend with American democracy and lingering Spanish influences. In an age where we celebrate indigenous resilience and question colonial legacies, what does it mean to be both fully American and fully Chamorro? To host the military bases of the nation that conquered you while maintaining your 1,000-year-old identity. Perhaps Guam's story teaches us that survival is not just about enduring. It is about adapting while never forgetting who you are.